Have you ever felt that moment? The moment when you speak an uncomfortable truth, a reality everyone else quietly agrees to ignore, a lie nobody dares to challenge out loud. And in that instant, the air in the room changes. The friendly smiles freeze. The warmth in the eyes turns to a cold distance. And the people who were just moments ago your companions now look at you like an enemy. You realize that truth, far from being a simple virtue, has become a dangerous weapon. This paradox is as old as humanity itself. We are taught from childhood that honesty is the best policy, that telling the truth is a moral imperative. Yet, in the real world, we often find that our most bitter enemies are those we created with a single, honest sentence. Today we're going to dive deep into the roots of this painful reality. We will explore the mind of a philosopher who articulated this truth in its most brutal and unflinching form. Arthur Schopenhauer. He didn't just observe this phenomenon. He argued that the person who tells the truth is almost guaranteed to make enemies, because it is a fundamental part of the human condition and the very nature of our will. In his eyes, the greatest obstacle to a true friendship or an honest relationship isn't external. It's the human being's own ego. Because fundamentally, humans are more inclined to choose a comfortable lie over a painful truth. So, what is it that we truly fear? Is it the truth itself? Or is it the exposed, vulnerable version of ourselves that the truth reveals? Get ready to journey into Schopenhauer's 3 stages of truth and the dark chambers of the human ego. This journey may just provide a powerful explanation for every time you found yourself alone, for simply being right. In his powerful work on the wisdom of life, Schopenhauer famously outlined the process through which a new truth is received by the world. It's a cynical but deeply accurate framework for understanding human resistance to new ideas. He wrote, "All truth passes through 3 stages. First, it is ridiculed. Second, it is violently opposed. Third, it is accepted as self-evident." This isn't just a clever saying, it's a distillation of history itself. Let's break down each stage. Stage 1, ridicule. When a new, uncomfortable truth is first spoken, it's often met with laughter and mockery. It challenges our established beliefs, our cherished certainties, and our personal comfort zones. Think of figures like Galileo Galilei, whose heliocentric model of the solar system was initially met with ridicule from the intellectual and religious authorities of his time. It's simply easier to dismiss a radical idea as absurd than to grapple with its uncomfortable implications. Stage 2, violent opposition. As the truth begins to gain traction and becomes a genuine threat, the reaction shifts from mockery to outright hostility. It exposes the flaws, ignorance, or even corruption in existing systems. People don't want their worldview shaken. They would rather attack the messenger, personally and intellectually, than question their own deeply held convictions. This is where the anger and the character attacks begin. As the German philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche, a profound admirer of Schopenhauer, once put it, "Truth is something that hurts when we encounter it." The opposition isn't just intellectual. It's a battle for the preservation of one's identity. Stage 3, acceptance. Finally, after enough time has passed and enough evidence has mounted, often after the truth-teller has already paid a heavy price, the new idea is no longer seen as radical. It becomes common knowledge, part of the accepted wisdom. The very people who once opposed it now claim it was obvious all along. The original truth-teller, however, is often long gone, forgotten, or posthumously celebrated. Schopenhauer's brilliance was in recognizing that this process is a slow, painful grind. Truth doesn't just win, it endures. And in its endurance, it makes enemies every step of the way. We've seen how the world rejects truth on a societal level. But why does the individual react with such venom? Schopenhauer's philosophy points to a deeper, more brutal reason: the will to live. For Schopenhauer, this isn't simply a biological desire to survive. It's a blind, irrational, and fundamental force that drives all human action and perception. Our ego is not the master of this will. It is its loyal servant. We build an entire identity around our beliefs, our opinions, and our sense of self-worth. It is a carefully constructed fortress designed to protect our inner world from the chaos and pain of reality. When someone tells us a painful truth, that we are wrong, that our worldview is flawed, that a cherished belief is a lie, it's not just an intellectual disagreement. It's a direct and violent assault on our ego, on our very identity. We don't want to hear that the world is a cold, indifferent place, that our actions may not matter, or that our heroes have feet of clay. We want to believe in purpose, in justice, in a comforting narrative where everything makes sense. A person who tells us the truth threatens that comfort, that carefully curated illusion. As Friedrich Nietzsche, a thinker heavily influenced by Schopenhauer, once said in his work, "Human, all too human," the individual has to fight against the current of the masses. The truth teller is an enemy to the comfortable. This fear of discomfort, this fierce protection of the ego, is the primary reason we would rather live in a comforting lie than a painful truth. The lie is a warm blanket. The truth is a bucket of ice water. No matter how much we claim to value honesty, when it's our own comfort on the line, the vast majority of us will choose the blanket every time. Schopenhauer understood that people would rather resent you for telling them the truth than thank you for it. Why? Because the truth forces us to acknowledge our own fallibility, our own ignorance, and our own complicity in the very lies we live by. And that, he believed, is an act of aggression against the fragile ego that few are willing to forgive. Beyond the psychological defenses of the individual ego, Schopenhauer's philosophy also illuminates why truth-tellers are often cast out by society. He understood that society is built upon a delicate network of pleasantries, unspoken agreements, and convenient deceptions. This isn't necessarily malicious, it's simply how we maintain social harmony and avoid constant conflict. The person who tells the truth, however, is a wrecking ball to this fragile social order. Consider a community that has collectively agreed to ignore the corruption of a popular leader because it's easier and safer to pretend he is a good man. Or a family that has built its entire dynamic around a long-held, unspoken secret. In these scenarios, the person who speaks the truth isn't just exposing the lie. They are attacking the very social fabric that has been woven around it. They are making everyone else feel foolish for their complicity, their silence, or their comfortable blindness. Schopenhauer, in his work Parerga and Paralipomena, argued that sincerity and honesty are often liabilities in a world that prefers flattery and conformity. He suggested that true wisdom often lies in knowing when to keep silent. This stands in stark contrast to philosophers like Socrates, who believed his duty was to expose ignorance and challenge assumptions, even if it led to his death. Socrates was a moral hero who pursued truth at all costs. Schopenhauer, perhaps more of a pragmatist, saw that the price of such Socratic truth-telling is often martyrdom. You can be right, but you will also be alone. Therefore, when you speak an inconvenient truth, you are not just engaging in a single disagreement. You are entering a war against the entire social structure built on that lie. And in that war, victory is far from guaranteed. So, what's the ultimate takeaway from Schopenhauer's bleak analysis? It's not a call to stop telling the truth. Instead, it's a stark warning, a call to be prepared. Schopenhauer teaches us that when you decide to speak an uncomfortable truth, you are not simply making an intellectual point. You are accepting the social and psychological consequences that will inevitably follow. You are choosing to be an enemy of convenience, a threat to comfort, and a disruptor of the status quo. The people who ridicule you, who oppose you, or who turn away from you are not necessarily bad people. They are simply human, driven by the powerful, protective forces of the will to live and the ego. Understanding this doesn't make the pain go away, but it can provide a kind of philosophical armor. It helps you realize that their hostility isn't the reflection of your character. It's a reflection of their own discomfort with the truth. So, the next time you find yourself alone for speaking the truth, remember Schopenhauer. It's not because you're wrong. It's because you are right. And for many, that's an unforgivable offense. Your willingness to stand against the tide of comfortable lies is a testament to your integrity, even if the world around you can't or won't see it. If you found this video insightful, be sure to like and subscribe for more deep dives into the minds of history's greatest thinkers. And tell us in the comments, what truth have you told that made you an enemy?